Okay, so it is currently 6:30 right now, and I am so tired. I haven't woken up this early since never. I haven't woken up this early since my last 8 a.m. class at Berkeley. And who are we kidding? We were always late to those. Okay, so the conference runs today from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that translates to Western time as 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that is why I am up at 6:30, because I need to mentally prepare myself for being up this early, or else I'm gonna get a stroke. So real quick, before this conference starts, I'm gonna make a tea latte.
Yeah, boy.
Juste une faille dans mon cœur ardent pour la peinture au mur et les bandes en cul nu. Juste une faille dans et battant.
Self-care right now is so important.
Okay, so let's look at the schedule real quick. So from 10 a.m. Eastern to 10:50 a.m. is a morning keynote session. I'm pretty excited about this because they have some pretty cool people speaking. So we have Aquafina. Yeah, so if any of you guys have seen Crazy Rich Asian and that other really good sad emotional movie that she made, Aquafina is the actress in it. And she's super funny. Yeah, I think she used to make YouTube videos before she went into acting. That I'm not entirely sure, but wow. Look what making YouTube videos turned out for her. And then after the keynote session or breakout session where they have a bunch of cool keynote speakers, there's like another breakout. Wait, no. Yeah, there's like several breakout sessions after where they invite different speakers talking about various topics. And I think you can like ask them questions and stuff. Yeah, and then there's another afternoon keynote. Who's talking here? Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys is talking at that afternoon keynote. I am so excited. So technically we're not allowed to show footage from the event, I think. Like, I think they explicitly said no recording. So maybe I'll annotate it for the entire 7 hours. Oh my god, wait.
Started in China. It became kind of this moniker for my career now.
Okay, so I just finished the session where Lisa Ling interviewed Aquafina. And so Aquafina was a rapper before she became a Golden Globe award-winning actress, which is really funny and cool. Yeah, that was really interesting. Aquafina basically talked about what it's like to be an Asian American in the film industry, and she was saying that the Asian Americans who preceded her or came before her set the stage for her to obtain roles within films, and how the film industry is gravitating towards incorporating more Asian Americans with roles that have substance into their films. So that was really cool to hear. And apparently Aquafina and Sandra Oh, so the actress from I think Grey's Anatomy, are apparently collaborating to make a film. So that's pretty exciting. And yeah, Aquafina is really humble, which is really cool.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm so honored to be joining you at the Massachusetts.
Okay, so today was the Massachusetts Conference for Women, and because Merck was one of the sponsors, I was invited and I had a chance to go. It was actually really awesome, and so many different topics were brought up that like I have so many thoughts about. So yeah, the conference made me think about things that maybe I wasn't that aware of before, or maybe was, but I guess just always sizzled in my mind, and I never really talked about it with anyone. But now that I have a YouTube channel, I guess I could talk about it here. So I think that the purpose of this conference is really awesome, and that's to empower both women, men, just anyone in general. And you can achieve this empowerment through greater self-confidence, greater self-awareness, and just understanding the potential that you have and the potential that you can contribute to society. And I believe the target audience for this type of conference are people who are maybe in their 20s and older. But I really think that a concept like this of empowerment, or a conference centered around this concept, should be integrated from an even younger stage or earlier stage. So in elementary school, in middle school maybe, or high school, we should already start to cultivate these ideas of empowerment. I mean, in school when we're growing up, so elementary school, middle school, high school, we learn a lot about the technical aspects, or we're educated largely in the academic sense. So math, science, English, history, art, which is obviously extremely important. But what about the concepts of self-awareness, of emotional intelligence? What is failure? Like, when was the first time that we first experienced failure, and how did we cope with that? Like, even being happy or learning how to be happy, that takes intelligence, right? Public speaking is also something that demands practice and to some degree level of intelligence, and is a part of our awareness and self-development. From my own experience, I've been able to learn about these sorts of things, not necessarily through academic curriculum, but through outside activities. So I think when I first experienced my sense of failure was by playing soccer. When I lost a game, that was my first way of coping with failure. Public speaking, that was something that I learned through debate and outside extracurricular. But what about the people who don't necessarily have access to these sorts of resources? What I think would be awesome is to incorporate these principles of self-awareness, of building and cultivating confidence, of public speaking into the academic domain. So there was one talk in particular by Tanya Katan that I thought was super interesting, and yeah, I just really liked her ideas. So she came up with the idea of changing the perspective of the symbol on the female bathroom. So the symbol on the bathroom for a female is of a circle head and then a triangular body. But she changed the perspective of maybe the entire time we were perceiving this symbol from the back. But what if we rotated this symbol, it's actually a girl in a cape, not a dress. So she came up with the slogan of, it's not a dress, or like the whole time it wasn't a dress. And I thought that was really interesting because by simply changing our perspective, how we perceive something that we've just grown so accustomed to, we're able to unlock an entire world of new perspective and new ideas. And one of the things that she brought up in her talk was the idea of incorporating creativity into the workforce. Or basically, we live as segregated components. So each of us live as the work us, and then the home us, and then the at school version of us. But what if we were able to break down the barriers between these different versions of ourselves to create one united identity? How much harmony would we have within ourselves and with the rest of the world? And another interesting topic that got brought up was the disparity between genders in STEM or in tech. This was really interesting because, well, I guess I am a female in STEM, so this applies to me. But when this got brought up, I tried to think about times in my own personal experiences where I might have experienced this disparity or underrepresentation between the genders. And looking back, I was raised in an environment where I always felt empowered, or I always felt like whatever I wanted to pursue, I could achieve. I never felt like, oh, because I am a girl, I am less capable. And in that regard, I am pretty grateful. So I was never really aware of this disparity. But I think the first time when it first hit me, or I was faced with this sort of possibility of a gender disparity within a field, was when I was talking to one of my friends at Berkeley, and she goes, oh wow, Megan, so you're in engineering. What is that like? Like in your engineering classes, are you the only girl? And I remember being really shocked by this. And it kind of struck me, like, why would my friend be asking me this? Why would she ask if among the students in the class, a majority of them were male? Like, it never occurred to me that there was a disparity. And I remember the next time going to class, like actually consciously thinking about it and looking around at the class like, wow, am I one of the few girls in this class? is it a majority male? And it was from that moment that I began to consciously think about these sorts of differences in representation that I never thought of before. And this brings in an interesting question, right? Of should we bring greater awareness to the disparity, or should we bring greater awareness to the actions that are taken to alleviate this disparity? And this references that case study in psychology, right? I forget the name of it, but you can leave a comment down below if you know about this study. But they have two groups of girls, and one of the group of girls had to take a math test, and then they measured their performance. And then the second group of girls, they said something that questioned their mathematical ability, and then had them take the test and then measure their performance after. So basically they compared the mathematical performance between girls of those who had no psychological influence before taking the test, and then those who were told they weren't capable. In the end, they ended up showing that the girls who were told that they weren't good enough or they weren't competent enough ended up performing worse. For the younger generation of females, do you even tell them that there is this disparity or discrepancy? Because are you just calling out greater awareness to the possibility, not necessarily reality, that they're less competent than their male counterparts? I don't know the answer to this question. Like, if the evidence lies that the disparity or inequity or imbalance exists and is obviously irrefutable, should we just dedicate 100% of our efforts to uplifting or promoting? I don't know. What do you think? Another topic that got brought up during the conference and I thought was super interesting is this concept of self-care or self-awareness and anxiety. What is anxiety? How can we alleviate imposter syndrome? A lot of psychological influences that I think are becoming increasingly relevant, especially in today's time. Like, all of us have had time to sit at home and reflect and think about the mental processes and states that we're in and whether or not we're actually mentally healthy. Mental health was always something that was emphasized before, but probably not as much as it has been emphasized in 2020. What I think is funny is that it's like almost a universally accepted moral principle, right? That you should do unto others as you would do unto yourself. We were raised since we were young that you always treat others the way you would like to be treated. But I think this actually works both ways, right? So treat yourself as others would like to be treated. Of course, you should treat others with respect, kindness, fairness. But what about yourself? I feel like there's almost a lack of education that you should apply those same levels of treatment to others to yourself. You yourself also deserves those same feelings of respect, worth, value. And I think at times it almost becomes this sort of situation where we train ourselves to treat everybody else great, but then we just dump on ourselves. Or internally, we just forget to treat our own selves with respect and worth. If you made it this far in this video, comment fish down below.
All right, this is a show, right?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, I guess you have the option to leave it also.
So, I have to cap it at 30 minutes. So, just for like, I guess like out of respect for your time as well. And
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah. I'm done for the day, so anytime.
So my first question is, can you tell me about your background? And that comes with like school and like, you know, what you did during your time at undergrad and what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Well, I could probably refer you to a YouTube video for this already.
So like, I think my favorite video is the computational chemistry one because, oh my God, when I was editing that, I was like actually laughing. Exactly. So I would say study though before you get drunk, and then so it's like in there, if you study after, you're not gonna remember it. But then when you get into the test, you're like so numbed that you're just like, okay, you have no emotion, so like you're not even afraid, like you're not even nervous. You just go in there and you just remember it before you drank, and then you just do it. Anyway, don't do that.
Yeah, I remember that video popped up on my feed. Was this released around like late last year, right? Or I can't remember exactly. I just remember it was either when I was applying to college or after I got into college. It popped up and I looked at it and I watched it.
Wait, which one? What was
It's just one of the first of the series of bioengineering ones. No, I was just like, oh, she's funny. I was like, it was like really interesting, and it gave a lot of insight. Yeah, while like keep, because audience retention rate. If you don't find yourself funny, I think you're funny.
It's weird because like when I post videos, I can't see people's reactions. So like I don't know what's going on when I post it. It always surprises me when like some people have messaged me, they're like, Megan, I just wanted to say your videos are funny. Me, I don't think my videos are funny at all. So it's always surprising. Yeah, and I'm also surprised that people are interested in bioengineering. I feel like it's such a random topic.
I see. I have a lot of these things where like I have a lot to say, but then right when I need to say them, it just disappears.
Yeah.
That is
No, that's
awesome.
that's like when you film a video too, right? Like when I make some YouTube videos, sometimes I'm lying in bed and I have so much to say. Like I'm like, oh my god, I'm making a YouTube video out of this. And the next day I try to make it, I forget everything.
How many internships do you think college students should complete prior to graduating?
I think there's no set number, but I think the cutoff would be at least one. And you can also do non-summer internships. So you could do like fall internships and you could do spring internships because some of those are easier to get. So if you're struggling to get a summer one, you can definitely try to get those, the off-season internships.
What is your advice on how to get internships?
Definitely the online applications. So that's your first step. That's like your base. But you can't just stop there because a lot of companies will filter out your resume or they won't even look at it. So I would also say go to career fairs. So your school will probably hold them virtually because of COVID. Normally these would be in person. So some companies, they like to visit schools. So you'll probably have a company come to UCLA where they give a talk and then they say, oh, hey, you should apply to an internship. So I would say if there's ever a company that does that at your school and you like that company, you should go to their info session. And they usually have recruiters there where you can physically give your resume to them. So that way you sort of bypass the online screening round because you physically talk to them. And then
I have like a personal question. Do you know what MATLAB is?
It's so random.
Yeah.
Hi. If you can't tell, the video is over. Go subscribe.